I thought of a question that the general class might ask. How do you go about negotiating salary, and what does that look like? And how is it received as a hiring manager?
I'll take a crack at that. I would say understand where the market is for what you're have it pretty dialed in, um, into a range as opposed to a specific number, because it depends on the company and how desperate they are to need to hire somebody and how well your experiences match up to what the position is that they have. And then also and then also part of that discussion, as important as what is my offer letter going to say on day one? What is my 5-year path? Assuming that I'm competent and I pick up things maybe a little quicker than the average Joe. What is a 5-year career? Financially, the first 5 years. What does this role look like? So I would combination of not only just don't lose track of the starting salary, but also just as important, don't lose track of a piece of your conversation being, what does the first 4 to 5 years look like?
Well, one thing that I would throw out there is you got to do your research and know what you're worth and know what the market's paying. As the way I explain it to students, the seniors, it's like when it gets to salary discussions, you're probably not talking to, maybe the person you interviewed with. Now you're in the world of HR.
Potentially.
Potentially. And the bigger the company is, the more this is true. You go to a Baker Group is different from, say, a Black & Veatch, or a Burns & McDonnell. We're talking about worldwide companies. They've got numbers they've got to get in, and they've got human resources people, and they're doing their homework. And what I'm saying by their homework is okay, out of this particular institution, whether I'm talking about Iowa State, Kansas State, Purdue, whatever, Iowa State keeps statistics on every major by major, and it gives you outcomes. What is the range? What's the salary range? What's the average? What's the high and what's the low? And all of you as students can look this up, and you damn sure should. So that when you get an offer, you're like, okay, is this fair? Is this high? Is this low? Where are we at? Not just, well, what do I feel like? Because your feelings, we're engineers. Your feelings are for things after hours. Salary is dollars and cents, and that's numbers. And numbers we can analyze. And what I'm saying is, first thing you do is you go and you find out what is the range of salaries in my major. Notice that range that you're going to look up is all locations. It doesn't tell you which one was in, Leon, Iowa, and which one was in San Francisco. So you got to understand there's within that range, there's some variance just based on location. All right. That being said, if we're looking at averages and we're like, hey, this company is offering me a job and it's August and it's the end of my internship and I'm about to go back for my last year at Iowa State and they offered me this amount and that amount is below the average for my major. I'm not feeling it, but maybe you got offered that in April and you're graduating in May. Different time frame.
Different feeling.
Different feeling. So what I'm saying is that if you're getting an offer, and I always tell students this, don't take below average offers before you even get to the career fair. Don't do that.
Yep.
Don't do that. And then like let's say Anna brings a job offer to me, which we talked about this on Monday. You absolutely should get somebody that you respect to look at it. Could be a faculty member, could be a parent, could be, whoever it is. Get a second set of eyes on this. That number is not confidential. All right? It's not. You're free to talk about that with whoever you trust. So you go get some input, especially people with experience. Next, analyze that number. All right, on the scale of as I look at all my other peers, do I feel like I'm an above average or below average student? What are the things, how could I justify getting an above average dollar amount? Or how could I understand if maybe I'm getting a below average dollar amount? What's going on? What time of year? What is the company? What do I think? My honest assessment of where I fall in with my peers. You need to be able to be honest with yourself doing this. Okay. So then you look at, are there any other things that I need to take into account? I would say like things like, well, what's their vacation plan? What's their health plan? Those are things that are hard to understand if you've never had a health plan. But I see things like where students, like one company might say, hey, you get a company truck and we'll pay for your cell phone. Those are real expenses that you're like, okay, now maybe that's why they're paying me just a little below average, is that I'm getting the company truck and the company cell phone, and instead of a week of vacation, I'm getting 2 weeks of vacation or 3 weeks of vacation. You don't know. You need to look at the whole thing, not just the dollar amount.
And I'd say too, when you're preparing, getting ready for those conversations, one, be prepared, just like it's been discussed. But two, don't be afraid to negotiate.
Yes, don't be afraid to negotiate.
If I'm looking to work for Dale, Dale gives me an offer and I just accept it. In the back of Dale's head, he's probably thinking, oh, if he doesn't even stand up for himself for negotiating, is he going to stand up for us as in a company?
Exactly.
During a change order or a contract negotiation.
Yep.
Is he just going to roll over and just take the first offer that's accepted? So it benefits you in more ways than one to have those conversations and see what
Absolutely
makes sense.
And here, if you go to a company and they offer you something, you're like, wow, I think I'm not quite sure that feels right. That feels a little low. And you go back and try to negotiate, and they get upset, and they get, you didn't want to work there anyway. Okay, you don't. It's this business. This is not personal. If you're saying, hey, Dale, you know what? Here's kind of what I'm thinking, because when you're leaving college, odds are, I'm just going to play the averages. Most of you are not leaving debt-free. Some of you do. That is amazing and awesome. Okay, we've been on the Jaden Dublin scholarship tour here in MCA the last couple of years, making sure he doesn't leave with any. But not everybody's going to be like that. All right? You've got real expenses. And I don't know if you've noticed out there, but cost of living has been going up a little bit. There's this little thing about inflation. Point is that work is an exchange of your time for money. Make it equitable. Understand the financial obligations that you have, and it might not just be you. At some point, maybe you want a family. And you need to consider everything like benefits for them and salary. And is this really an equitable exchange of time for money? And if an employer gets insulted because you've expressed a desire to negotiate, think hard about what that is. And here, and I know this is going to sound odd, but Dale and I might know an employer that lies to you before you go work there. We won't say who.
I know when I graduated, the six mechanical, me and the other 5 mechanical MCs, we all shared our offers and helped each other out. We were going
That's
to
awesome.
Different areas or different contracts, just to see what is that range and what does that look like. It's trusted people, and we've known each other for years, so it helped us all in the long run.
And I think that's a solid thing to do.
You can only negotiate your starting salary once.
Yes.
Yeah, and something that we started doing a couple of years ago as a company as a result of, there's a bunch of data centers in central Iowa area, and we had some of our people, let's say, air quotes around, got poached to go work for the data center, which is fine. If it's a better fit and you can make more money and it's a better path, that's, hey, that's great. No hard feelings. But the problem was the offer letters that they were getting was the company would quantify the total package, which is a combination of wage and benefits, and if there's a cell phone allowance or a vehicle allowance, or what's the value of vacation, and which is all good and well. So they would total it at the bottom of the page, and that's fine. We weren't doing that because we hadn't been in that situation before, but we started doing that because we had some of the people that left to go work for the data center called us back within a month of when they started and said, hey, can you help me understand this? Because they were assuming that they were comparing the total value of the package at the bottom of the page compared to their wage that they were making at Baker Group, and there was a huge gap, and so we had to walk them through, and they ended up figuring out that their wage
actually went down.
Their wage actually went down because we weren't doing hey, here's the total package. Because when you, as an employer, if you're a lot of times health benefits and all that kind of stuff, Healthcare insurance is very expensive.
Yeah.
And so you never, as an employee, a lot of times you don't see that and you don't even know it.
Right.
And so we've started to
And for
quantify
these students, it is going to be very difficult for them to look at the company health package and have any idea what's a good one and what's a bad one and what's a mediocre one.
Yeah.
You
So
know, that is tough.
And if you don't have anything else to go on and you're trying to do a spitwad total cost of employment, typically an employer's package is basically the total cost of employment is your base wage times like 1.25 or 1.3 is the total cost. Once you roll all the benefits together, it's somewhere around 25 to 30% of your
Yeah, I bet it's
wage.
at least 30%.
So if your wage is, for the sake of the conversation, is $100,000, your total cost once you roll in the benefits is 125 to 130 grand is what your total cost of employment is. So we started putting together a sheet that did summarize all that stuff because the offer letters that some of our employees were getting, that's the format that was in, and they were thinking they were apples to apples, but it was
Apples to oranges.
apples to pizza.
Yeah.
Not even fruit.
Yeah.
fruit.
Not even fruit. That's right.
So if and when you get an offer letter, see if it's in the format of some sort of value of the total package. And if it isn't, if you can ask them if they have a sheet like that.
Yeah, break it out.
If there isn't, then kind of create your own spreadsheet, the major line items and do a best guess on the value of some of the benefits that they have, so that you can, if you have multiple offer letters that you're comparing, or you're just comparing yourself against what you think the market is, you're really rolling in all the total cost or the total package that they're offering.